Hey everyone, welcome again to Design Underground. I'm Rob Irving, and today we're here to talk about power-ups, tools, and gadgets.
Did someone say power-ups?
I did say power-ups.
I am it.
Pretty exciting stuff.
It is, it's crucial to Descent.
Especially to ours. We're changing up things a little bit and making them even more important.
It is.
Of course, we got to start out with the disclaimer. When you get live design stuff like this, well, everything is subject to change. You know, they sound great on paper, but you can never tell what happens when you plug it into the game and go, well, that's not quite the way I want it.
But that's also why we're allowing people early access and stuff like that, so that they can actually try those things out and say, well, that sucks.
Breaking rule one,
right,
don't suck.
If it's not fun, it won't stay in. But we're definitely designing around the original concept of how Descent works.
Oh yeah, we've got some good stuff to talk about today.
I think it's really cool.
So let's start out with, if you're new to Descent, what is a power up? Okay, so power ups are little floaties, if you will. I know you like to use that term. That are found in the maze in Descent, and they do different things to augment your ship. Now, they're your basic shield and energy power-ups that not only can recharge your shield and energy, but can also boost it above its normal fill rate.
Percentage-wise, right.
Yeah. So that's unlike the recharge station, which can only take your energy back to 100.
Right.
An energy orb can take it above 100. So
right.
Then there's the weapon power-ups. You can pick up missiles, you can pick up lasers. Now, the interesting thing about the laser power-ups is if you pick up one laser power-up, your laser goes up to level 2. You can keep doing that up to level 4. Now, all those things are things we plan to preserve in the game.
And it changes colors of your lasers so that you can kind of tell what your enemy's firing at you, or what two people are firing to, where you can come in and let them battle and then snipe them out and steal their stuff.
Just wait till they're finished and then pick up the loot, pick off the winner.
That guy looks hurt. I'll take him out.
Not that you would ever do that.
Oh no, not me.
It's like, I think somebody just went through that door. I'll wait until I hear the explosion.
When should I launch this mega missile?
Mega missiles, man.
I know.
Well, we're going to have them.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Yep.
Now, we'll have to use them sparingly, of course.
Yes.
Now, the difference between Descent and Descent Underground as far as how power-ups are found is, while there will be some power-ups just, drifting around in the maze like there were before.
They'll be placed.
Exactly. And they'll respawn like they did before. But you can also find power-ups by mining.
Yes.
So when you're digging through the dirt, the rock, whatever your element is that you're digging through, you can find a power-up. It might pop out when you break the block.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the original concept for that was that we were going to like hover over and bring stuff through that way. But I believe you said, why not just make it more Descent-y and have the power-ups pop out, or as you blow something up, it's there, and that made perfect sense to everybody.
We can still vacuum it up potentially, but
of course,
because the mining stuff will be in power-ups that basically shrink down as you pick it up slowly.
See, that's an interesting point because before that's not how it worked before. Now you can, if there's a power-up with say 100% energy or whatever, and you only are going to use 50% of that energy to fill yourself up, or that's the capacity you have, and you fly off. We leave a slightly smaller
one there.
We leave a slightly smaller version, and so
you get it down to a teeny tiny little 10% power.
people be poking their monitors, thinking pixels are out, or what's wrong with my monitor?
What is that?
Well, there'll be a point in which it disappears, but yeah.
There also were some special, unique power-ups in Descent, like the invulnerability, which very useful against some bosses, and the cloaking,
right,
which works great until you start shooting at somebody and they shoot back as well. They can see that you're there. Mines. Mines. Well,
those aren't really power-ups, I guess.
They are power-ups. I mean, they can be found as power-ups. But yeah, I mean, they're what we're calling in our game gadgets.
Gadgets.
Right. Things that are basically would be on your secondary weapon button. So that includes missiles, of course, but it also includes your mines. And some new ones we're introducing, like the laser grid,
traps,
which would be loads of entertainment for everyone. Because you can imagine just zipping down a corridor being chased by somebody, and then you drop the laser grid, and it goes, poof, pops up behind you, and slices them into little bits.
I like that.
I think doing clever things like that to your opponents will make the game a lot of fun for everyone. The other thing that we have with our gadgets is there are some specialty gadgets, we call them. That includes a lot of little helper bots. There are some little mining robots that can help you mine, little pickup robots that can go pick up ore and bring it back to you, sentinels, so you can have it drop a remote camera and look around.
And those are kind of like familiars. If you've ever played RPGs or something of that nature, that's like your little buddy, your familiar that has abilities that enhance your ability to play the game. It enhances your team's ability in some cases.
And the enemies will have some too, like the little hunter bots that go hunting down your little bots.
Right. Well,
Now,
those are pretty cool.
The interesting,
Or annoying, depending on which side of the coin you're on.
A little of both, I think.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do in Descent Underground to take this to the next level is we're kind of turning everything into power-ups. All the familiar ideas from Descent will still exist, but they're all going to become mobile. So you have ships that can manufacture power-ups, for instance. You can spit out energy orbs if you're which one is that? Is that the Shaman? I think it might be the Shaman. Maybe the Shaman does shield orbs. Could be both.
Yeah.
I don't
well,
know.
that's still this is in design.
See?
Right
Design.
Yeah.
This is how these things happen. It's like, which one do we do with that?
And again, can't stress enough. All these things will be tested with you guys involved.
Absolutely.
In the proving grounds early or in alpha, and this is gonna. You guys are gonna help us balance this to make sure that it's fun. You know.
Yeah. The Sentinels are good for scouts because they can drop them and they can then relay information back to you about the map.
Sure.
About where enemies might be.
Where you found a special cache of fills.
Fills. The highest currency.
That's what Phil would say.
That is what Phil says.
I know.
Sharing an office with Phil, you hear a lot about Phils.
Yeah, you hear a lot about Phils.
A whole lot about Phils.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that we are introducing that's brand new to Descent in a sense, but very familiar, is the idea of tools.
Yeah.
Now, so unlike a gadget, which is something that you deploy, you use, it goes away.
Right, it's usable.
Tools are reusable. So, for instance, your mining laser is a tool. Everyone's got one of those, so everyone can dig holes.
Yeah, but they're different. You've got different. Some people are better at that than others.
Yes, absolutely.
Some ships are better at that.
And that is represented, as our tech trees will be, by basically adding power-ups.
Right.
So if you have a level 1 mining laser, or you're an auger, you might have a level 4 mining laser, which is just a mining laser with 3 power-ups.
Right.
Simple. The whole thing works just like you're familiar with, just with more stuff. Now, there's some other really interesting tools, like, for instance, the Typhoon has the spinning wings. That's a special thing. Costs a lot of energy, but fills a lot of space with lasers.
The Death Blossom. I'm lobbying for that. Can we actually do that? I mean,
I think it's copyrighted.
I don't know. It was just in The Last Starfighter. I'm not sure if that's like a. I don't know. That'd be really cool to call it. I mean, if you haven't seen The Last Starfighter, please check it out. You'll understand the special ability of the Typhoon.
Well, it doesn't spin in every direction.
I know the Death Blossom did.
Death Blossom was a little crazy.
Yeah, but this kind of does. The wings are going to be going and creating it's going to be really
creating a nice little vortex of lasers. I mean, you're going to fill a lot of hallway with that. It's going to be dangerous.
Imagine that quad lasers with that. Oh, that's just it's going to be a buzzsaw. You're not going to be able to get out.
Or get your multi-laser in there, firing in 3 directions at once with 3 different wings. Yikes!
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. But it's also going to be, when it's going to be a target. I mean, you have that, and somebody's going to if you decide to use it, it drains your ship quite a bit.
Yeah, the energy cost is high, but it'll be really nifty when you decide to use it.
Makes you vulnerable, though.
Yes. Then, well, since we're talking about being vulnerable, the tank. The Panzer has its own special ability, which is it has a shield it can deploy, which can protect enemies behind it. Imagine a tank working together with a shaman. So the tank's running in front with everybody behind it. Shaman's keeping it healed.
And a lot of this is going to be visual. You're going to see a lot of this stuff with articulating pieces on the ships themselves. So when things happen, you're not just going to see like a representation. You might see the tank's carapace open and create that shield, that hull shield. So it's going to be pretty.
Pretty cool.
Time. Yeah.
Let's think about some other familiar concepts from Descent. So we have of course we have the repair tool, which is what the engineer carries,
right?
And he can fix your armor, which no one else can do.
Right.
The medic can help with your shields because the
Shaman and Warlock. Can we get these names right?
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
Until they change.
They change until they name them. Yeah.
Right. Who knows what they'll be named?
They may call it the design eponymous.
That would be a great name for a ship. I don't think I bought that package, though.
That would not be it.
I think the Panzer would be great as a design.
Well, it's funny. The Panzer. The story behind the Panzer is actually when we were doing the Kickstarter. One of the larger German backers, Sinalaya, we see you. He really hated Panzer because he goes, in German that just means tank, and I'm like, it is a tank.
That makes sense.
And, he goes, I don't like it.
It's kind of generic. We get it.
It is. It's very generic, and so, but we want to allow people to name them. That's why that category is there. I think several did. So
4, I think. No.
Yeah, so they're going to get a chance to. Well, they'll choose. And then we'll be able to name the others, or somebody else will buy those and name them themselves.
I'm curious what they're going to come up with. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, that'll be fun. It's part of the fun.
It's neat doing collaborative design like that, though.
It is, as long as it's decent name.
As long as it's a decent name. Yeah, we do reserve the right of refusal for
Yeah.
names that are too silly or too off color or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ore watchers. There's an interesting one. We haven't talked about those. Ore watchers are a gadget that lets you watch and see if anyone's mining in the area. So if you're running a hauler, for instance, you drop one of those and you can see when somebody releases some material you can pick up and then run and get it, or send one of your little loader bots to get it. What other tools do we have that we haven't talked about? The blast shield on the tank, the constructor, bot constructor. Now in Descent, there was a zone in the mine where robots were created.
Right.
Now we're going to have
It's really
an
a
enemy
respawn zone,
that
right?
does that.
Right,
Exactly. He's
right.
going to walk around and build the robots that you're fighting. So we have a bot constructor that replaces that construction
And
zone.
it's mobile.
Exactly.
It may not be in the same. One of the things we want to do is we want to the maps themselves, will be changeable based on a few things. Maybe certain areas will be drillable. You'll have a map, and maybe some areas will open and others won't. Each time you play, it'll be different.
Yep.
But also making things mobile, and when you play it, maybe it's not the same every time. The placement of bots and everything else changes.
That will make it a lot more interesting to replay things.
Exactly, replayability factor.
Now, another idea, a place where we're replacing an old concept with a new one is the energy converter, which was a power-up that everyone wanted in Descent.
The yellow hallway or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the energy, the recharge station, which
Right,
we'll
right.
probably still have those, but we have
Right.
we have ships that do that now. The energy converter, which used to be a power-up, is now a tool for this one's on the shaman. So it can take its energy and convert it to your shields, which is an important thing to be able to do. Maybe if you get a little conga line of shamans, they can all be doing it for each other.
Okay, then. There's a joke there, but I'm trying to be serious.
I think we're being very serious. Yeah, the manufacturing tool we've already talked about, where you can build power-ups, different ones for different ships. So the auger builds energy, the enemy carriers build energy, the Goliath builds ammo, the shaman builds shields.
Yeah, and the reason for that is we want to encourage team play to where
Absolutely.
you rather than having locations or the old school ammo boxes or medic kits or whatever, we want the teams to be doing that for each other.
Yeah.
We want
Absolutely.
to encourage the groups to and there'll be the score, the rankings will be somewhat based on that too.
Yeah,
So
how much you use those different tools.
how much
to
are you
help
how
each
much
other.
are you helping your team out?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's not just how many things you shoot.
No, but that's part of it too, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's certainly a part of it. No question. But it just does. It means that you're not getting shut out because you're running a Goliath.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's it. There are some people that want to play as a cleric, or they want to play as the hauler, or whatever. And so
Yeah.
there's got to be a way of scoring that to where they can progress, and they can earn more script to get more stuff the way they're playing.
Well, and it's the circle of life there, because the miner is using the scout to find the ore that the miner mines, and then you pick it up and you use it to make power-ups. Everyone has contributed to the team.
Why,
as
that
part of
sounds like depth of gameplay, Rob Irving.
What?
Say it isn't so.
We can do that. Let's see, what other gadgets have we mining laser we definitely talked about? Repair tool. Oh, here's one that people are going to really like.
Okay.
They've asked us if we're bringing back the thief bot.
Oh, God, that guy.
Oh, the thief bot.
That was annoying at times.
That's its purpose.
If you finally get what you wanted, then it's gone, and you're like, man.
Well, the deactivator tool, that's a warlock tool. The deactivator basically takes something that was a power-up and turns it back into a power-up. So if there's a little robot running around, for instance, that's mining, he goes and zaps it and turns it back into a robot pickup. Or, even worse, if he trains this little tool on you, he can steal your power-ups.
So you're taking all the abilities of the
thief bot
and turning them into player abilities.
Absolutely. And we can use engineers as enemy robots as well, and so you'll have that exact thief bot idea in our game too. It's just a new presentation.
Well, it's taking the abilities and giving them to people.
Exactly.
And letting users choose how they want to play that with that ability. And it's just a much more diverse way of doing things. Now, that doesn't mean that when we do single player we won't have some of these abilities already put into and some algorithms and AI that will still do that. But
and you'll be able to pick up some of these tools during the gameplay to simulate the things you need
that's
at
a
any
very
given
good
time.
That's a good point. The picking up is good too.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to steal some abilities. So to speak.
Yeah, play with all the different toys, when you need to. Right. I mean, like the engineer will be very useful for another reason, because he's got the security tool, which is the same as key cards.
Key cards.
Ta-da! It's all there. It's just in player hands now. That's the important thing. So I mean that pretty much covers where we've gotten to so far on our gadgets and tools and everything. We'll be talking a lot more about different aspects of design in the upcoming weeks. We're just getting started on all this.
Did you talk about droppable turrets, or did you talk about?
That's one of the gadgets. I didn't mention that. But
okay. Sorry.
Droppable turrets are definitely a gadget.
Yeah, but it would be a gadget. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to protect a pile of ore, or you want to protect something, you can drop
Yeah.
it there, and
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming up. And now, are you going to publish some of this on the web at some point, or what's going on with that?
I don't know. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably run through a lot because there's going to be an advisory board.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things we'll run through the advisory board first and talk to them and get some feedback. And we'll let you in on this now, and then probably the next step will be to get the. I think there's going to be about 10 or 12 people on the advisory board, and we'll reach out to them. We'll have a special place for them to talk about this stuff, and we'll debate it, and then put it in play and let people play at the Proving Grounds.
I want to play this game. This is the important thing. Is if you're doing it right, you want to play your own game, right?
Well, there's a fair point. How many times have we been making a game for for other people, and we think I really don't appreciate that portion. I mean, I can go back to Star Citizen. I love Star Citizen, but I don't like blacking out. I just didn't find that fun at all in any way. And so, in our game, you're going to be able to do whatever you want, and there's no blacking out. So, the key for all this is what is the final line here? Is it fun?
Is it fun?
Does it
That's
enhance?
all that matters to us.
That's all that matters.
And that's what hopefully matters to you too.
Right. It'll be a good time, and that's going to matter in testing, and that's again where you guys are going to help us figure it out.
Absolutely. So thanks for tuning in again for Design Underground. I'm Rob Irving. Eric Peterson here.
Right.
See you next week.